Good afternoon, what's your name?
My name is John Glover.
And John, this is a beautiful MGC, which looks to me as if it's had a lot of work done to it.
Well, it's a reconstruction from lots of bits. This was originally a car was very well known to the C register, and it's got the remnants of a very old C register sticker, probably 30 years old, on the back window, which has faded almost to nothing. You can still read it. And I bought it in the Midlands when I was working up in Birmingham. I saw it for sale and I couldn't resist it, in bits. The original gentleman who had it, who, as I say, was well known to the C register and the car club, local organiser, took it apart and wanted to turn it into a Sebring lookalike, but never got it finished. And then it was sold on to another gentleman who's really an Austin man, had two vintage Austins up near Birmingham, and I bought it in bits, transit and two trailers, to get it back to the village garage in East Grinstead, who've done a lot of Cs for me. And in fact, it's taken 2 years. It was supposed to be a year, but it's taken 2 years in the end. After we took all the Sebring bits off, in the front and in the rear, a lot of rust and a lot of holes, so we decided to stick with its original resprayed colour, which was Jaguar Racing Green rather than British Leyland or MG Racing Green.
You said Sebring. It had been modified at some stage in its life?
They were going to put some Sebring bits, exhaust, manifold. Sebring is the sort of buzzword in MGCs because when the works team got hold of the MGC, about the only successful part of the MGC story was the fact that they built 4 lightweight cars, 3 of which I think are still running. One is a bit of a mystery, which were driven by people like Paddy Hopkirk and Andrew Hedges with a great deal of success at Sebring. And they flared the wheel arches and they put stuff on the front, stuff on the back, and they were really very, very powerful and very good. And they got the engines going really as they should have done for the production car, but didn't. I mean, this really should have been a V8, but for some reason they weren't allowed to make it a V8, and they cast around for a heavy old lump of an engine, which is what you see in there.
So, what do we see? Is it a standard issue MGC engine, or how have you tuned it?
This is standard apart from different exhaust manifold, different carburetors and different air filters.
Okay.
But otherwise it's exactly as it would have come out the factory. But the problem, as you can see, is when they had the MGB, they always knew they wanted to put something bigger in it, engine-wise, and this was all they could come up with, which is 3-litre Morris lump that originally been a lorry engine, I believe, and it's too long, it's too high, hence the oil cooler has come here forward of the radiator. It would be there on an MGB, and you've got various lumps in the bonnet to accommodate the radiator and the carbs, that carb.
Yeah.
But I mean, when this went off to Izzy Gonis at Morris Motors, and he was supposed to shorten the stroke, make it much lighter, because they had tremendous problems. The whole of the front end of this car completely different to an MGB. They had to put a great big strut under the front of the engine, under the back of the engine, and because of America, and they wanted to make it an automatic for America. The Americans didn't want an automatic; they wanted a stick shift because it's a British sports car. I want to change gear, man. I can do that in my Plymouth. And so they had to accommodate the fact they can maybe put an automatic gearbox on there. And when you take this engine out, it all comes out in one. This is a manual car, but it still has to take the whole thing out in one piece. And there's a great big piece of metal underneath the seats, which holds the back of the engine up.
Okay.
So it's a completely different car. Floor pans, everything, and then it's MGB afterwards.
So you've been a great collector of MGCs over the years. Why Cs as opposed to the V8s, for instance?
I started off with a rubber bumper MGB, and it was great. And then I had one drive in one of these, very old one, absolutely rackety. It was just the increase in power was just very, very. And it's also a much better cruising car.
Yeah.
I mean, the head of BMC said, you know, if I want to go around some country lanes, I'll take an MGB.
Yeah.
If I want to go to France, I'll take an MGC.
So what's the output on this? About 140, 150?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of controversy about what the original figures were, particularly with the view to Downton, who did a lot of upgrades with this car. In fact, were official suppliers to BMC, but they probably didn't get that much more buzz out of it.
Okay.
Now, you've probably seen my friend Vic Young and Andrew Young, his son. They have their racing Cs here, and what they get out of them is absolutely incredible. Andrew's doing 120, and he's the beating V8s, which was the later thing. But this should have been a V8 in the first place. They had the engine, but it was going in the Ford. In the Rover. And they weren't allowed to have it. And like all these misconceived things, they launched it in '67, Six-Day War, petrol went up, no one wanted it. It was no different to it was very disappointing compared to the MGB. It's no more luxurious, completely same interior, nothing apart from the performance. It is much more powerful.
Yeah.
They got a terrible reputation, mainly because a lot of kids got them for their 21st birthday, including Prince Charles, who's now our king. And he was given one by his mother for his 21st. There's a famous picture of him driving the Queen Mother with her waving out of her MGCGT seat. But young men got hold of it and sort of went straight on at roundabouts, because it wouldn't go round roundabouts at 120 miles an hour that they were trying to do it with. You know, an MGB will go round country lanes, but you're changing gear all the time. This will go off in fourth.
Have you done some work with the suspension?
No, it's quite standard.
Okay.
Adjustable shocks on the front,
Fine.
which they fitted to counter again the heavy engine.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's all completely conventional. It has been balanced by a sports car manufacturer.
Right. So you've done some cosmetic work as well as engine work and everything else work. These seats are beautiful.
These are Moss seats.
Okay.
I mean, the car arrived with boxes and boxes of bits, including these brand new Moss seats.
Okay.
Which are much, much more comfortable than the originals.
Yeah, it is perfect. And you've got the Webasto on there.
Well, no, that's not a Webasto. The car arrived without a hole in the roof, but a sort of shocking American sunroof fabric thing that we weren't going to fit. And I picked this sunroof up from a breakers off a rubber bumper car that was being broken.
Really?
For about 30 quid. And it's absolutely perfect. The only trouble is it's slightly smaller than a Webasto. It's a Britax.
Okay.
Who were also the other.
Yeah.
So we had a bit of trouble with the headlining, making it fit. Same length, not as wide.
It's beautifully fitted in.
Yeah. And carpets come from the only chap who does the proper MGC carpets, because the front front passenger compartment and driver's compartment are quite different. You need different carpet to fit it.
Okay.
And he's the only one who does it. Strange man who works all night and sleeps all day.
Okay. And was it your choice of colour for the inside?
Yeah, the red, yes.
Yeah, it's a great contrast to the green.
Red and green.
Yeah. Your choice of wheels as well?
No, came with it.
Did it? And they're very good condition. Did you have them blasted?
No, absolutely as they came.
Really?
All brand new painted.
And that colour?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's superb.
Well, that's why I couldn't resist buying it, because by the time we'd been through all the bits, and there was plenty of stuff to sell as well. A number of windscreens, a number of side screens. These side screens now are very difficult to get hold of. Quarter lights are very difficult to get hold of. We got about 4 sets. But you can see the interior. It looks just like the MGB, and people are expecting it to be an E-Type.
Yeah.
I've fitted the latest centre console, which is very useful for touring.
Yeah.
And this car is off to Luxembourg in August for its first foreign trip.
Really?
Yeah, going off to the European event of the year.
Brilliant. Yeah. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
John, this has been so interesting. Thank you very much for talking about the car to us. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks for your appreciation.
Thank you.
All right.